must have been a cultural learning experience to try to get into that market.
I was working from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I was studying currency trading, studying markets until like 3, 4 a.m. and doing it all over again. Business went under and I went all in. I kind of just like burnt the bridges, struggled, lived off of savings. It was either that or die broke.
What did the plan do that put you on the right path?
Discipline and managing risks. Yeah, and I think it comes down to self-respect. Like if you don't respect yourself, you're gonna average losers. I think what's even bigger than having mental strength is change. If you're too stubborn to change what you're doing to do something that actually works, you're just wasting your time.
Hi everybody, this is Boris Schlossberg for the Trading Battle. Welcome everybody, welcome to our channel. Today we have a very, very special guest, Andre Stewart. The man specializes really in trading without indicators, pure price action, pure chart reading. He's going to have some very interesting things to share with us. And without much ado, we're going to start with Andre. Welcome to the show. Andre, of course, has the website andrecharts.com. Go to that. We'll put the link into the description if you want to check out his work and find out exactly what he does on a day-to-day basis. Welcome to the show, Andre. Nice to have you on the Trading Battle.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So, chatting with you a little bit before, you said to me you were primarily a currency trader. You primarily trade forex. I'm wondering, how did you stumble into the world of forex, or generally, what attracted you to the financial markets? What stoked your interest when you initially got into this?
So it's kind of weird. Well, I'm an 80s baby, right? It's 43 years old now. And when I was very young, I've always found myself being attracted to the stock section of the newspapers.
Mm.
So I would pick it up and I'm like 4 years old. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, right? And then there's this movie that came out and I binge watched it from like maybe age 5 to age 12. Trading Places, Eddie Murphy.
Best trading movie ever made.
God, I love that movie. So that movie was what triggered me, and I've been infatuated with trading and markets ever since. I lost interest as I became a teenager, because at that point I was more into drawing and I wanted to be a singer, believe it or not. Writing music, draw arts, basketball, but I'm 5'8". I'm not going to the NBA. And I picked the trading back up with the boom of the internet. So I used to work for AT&T and I had the very first iPhone when it came out. And the very first app I launched was a stock app. And in 2008, I was working for Nordstrom's and I lost 80% of my 401k. Like, everything I had put into my 401k gone.
Was that the 208 crash? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was when it was oh gosh, it was when Obama started bailing out banks in '08.
Yes, it was the 208.
Mhm.
It was the great financial crisis when
Oh my God. And
yeah.
you watch the talking heads on NBC, CNBC, oh, the money just vanished. I'm a logical thinker. Money doesn't vanish. It goes into someone else's account. So I'm like, damn, I have to start all the way over. And I started all the way over. And then when I went over to AT&T, 2012, there was like a little flash crash in 2012.
Yes.
Lost everything again. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Wow.
And that's what sparked it. Like, just anger, flat out anger and rage, because
At that point, were you just sort of investing? You were kind of a passive investor, or you really weren't trading very actively? Yeah, and then it just those huge downdrafts in the market, which wiped out your equity, made you really angry.
oh, hell yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Hmm.
So after that, you started looking for different ways to maybe participate. What happened then?
So I'm stubborn. I picked up my laptop and I started just going balls to the wall. I started in options,
Mm.
and I took whatever money I had left, lost like 90% of it. So the first day trading, I made 60 grand. I was like, you know what? I am about to be the world's best trader. I'm about to buy
This
a
is an
mansion.
options. You were trading options. You made $60,000 just for
I
entertainment
and
purposes.
I did not know what I was doing.
But what did you do that day that made a 60? Was it, did you just simply get long some option that
Yeah,
like
Chipotle.
it just got
Yeah,
lucky? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, okay, this is gonna go on forever. I'm gonna be rich. Here comes the mansion. Here comes the Lamborghini. Right, like all the stupid stuff that comes along with being emotionally attached to money. And then within a week, my account had barely anything in it. So I needed something cheaper to trade, and that's when I discovered currency trading.
Mm. So just to understand, you were up 60,000. All of that disappeared. You didn't block in any profits.
Nope.
That's so painful. So painful.
You live and you learn, right?
Yeah. So you discover forex after the global financial crisis, um, and mainly because I guess it's sort of low cost, higher leverage, so you could make your small amount of money do more with it. It's a completely different game, especially for Americans. We're really not raised on forex. It must have been a cultural learning experience to try to get into that market.
I didn't even think of it like that. I just needed something to trade
Hmm.
because it was either that or die broke,
Oh, wow.
literally.
Yeah. And so, what was your experience in forex? How did you begin to kind
Yeah.
of master and conquer the market at that point?
So I bought a book called Forex Trading for Dummies, worst book ever. Uh, all the online forums. Um,
Wait, is Forex Trading for Dummies written by Brian? What's his name?
I
I
don't
think I
even
know.
know.
I think I know who wrote the book. Yeah, go ahead. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought that book and
Yeah.
no, not good. And then, your typical path. I went through scammer after scammer. The biggest BS scam that I did, and which actually was a turning point, was a certain trading academy. Um, I spent, okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So I spent like $10,000 that I didn't have to go to this trading academy. We
Wow.
know where banks trade. We know this, we know that.
Right. Yeah.
And Boris, I kid you not, one trade won, and then every other trade, according to the strategy, lost. So, okay, if you know where banks trade, you should be able to tell me why this failed. They couldn't answer why it failed. And these guys are supposed to be education counselors and all that.
Right.
Well, help, right? They couldn't help. And so I just dropped it and I stopped paying it. And then, they got, what was it, FTC, they got them.
Violation. Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't get my money back, but I got the debt erased off of my credit.
Okay. Well, at least that's something. So now you're essentially very little capital, no really good education, staring at the forex market. What's the next step there? What's going on in your journey?
I started a business and with trading in the background, and the business was
What? Sorry, do you mind telling us what kind of business it was?
renewable energy.
Okay.
And the business was going well. Then it didn't. But at the same time, I was working from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. studying currency trading, studying markets until like 3 4 a.m. and doing it all over again. Business went under, and I went all in.
So first, the business was doing well, and you kind of did currency trading in the pre business hours because currency trades 24 hours a day. So you're able to get up like for the London session, learn a little
Oh
bit
yeah, I
about
wasn't sleeping.
trading, follow the markets during that time.
Hmm.
You weren't sleeping. You were just completely
I was,
obsessed with it.
yeah.
Then that sort of stopped, and you said, "Okay, you're like Cortez. You burned the boats, and you said, I'm going to be all in." So what year is that? Is it like around 210?
So I went full. I was able to go full time trading. It's been a long journey. I was able to go full time trading in 2017 because I'm coming up on my 10th year. So this was around is it 2015 is when
Okay.
I burnt. I kind of just like burnt the bridges, struggled, lived off of savings. Uh, had a little small job, lost that, and then just I had two kids. I still have two kids at the time, and it was either feast or famine
Right.
again. Back against the wall. And I had my trading plan on my kitchen wall because I was trading at my kitchen table, and I'm hemorrhaging what little bit I have left. And I'm looking at my plan. I'm going, dude, I'm an effing idiot. My plan's right here, and I can't follow it. And then
Right.
it clicked. Follow your dang plan, and I followed my plan, and that was when it started to go way better.
Do you think it was because you had no choice? Because if you didn't follow your plan, you knew that you were, at financial ruin, and you had obviously family to take care of and bills to pay, and life to live, and that if you started to freestyle and make random trades, you were going to just fail miserably. So it was like the ultimate discipline at that point, hanging over your head.
That, and I can't look my wife and my kids in the face and say I failed.
Right.
I was not going back to the working world.
Right.
No.
So, what did the plan do that put you on the right path? What was the principal ideas? You don't have to give me the specifics, but just sort of like, what were the key principal ideas within the plan that helped turn you more profitable?
Discipline and managing risks. Because I'll tell you, that was back when I was really into tracking my trading stats. Kid you not, I had a 63.3% win rate and I wasn't profitable. Was not profitable.
Why was that? Why you had a high hit rate but not profitable? Why were you not profitable?
Oh, too much leverage. One or two losses would wipe out everything.
Is that because when you were losing far more than you were winning, winning, winning on relatively small trades and then losing on large trades? Is that
Yep, exactly it. It would just take one or two losses to like wipe me out.
so? Was one of the things you did was to standardize your trade size, so every trade was uniform size, or what?
Sticking to my stop loss. Sticking to my stop loss and not adding to losers.
Right. Yeah, there's a very famous picture of Paul Tudor Jones where he's sitting at a desk and there's like a handwritten sign behind him. It says "Losers average losers." It's a thing I think about all the time because everybody, including yours truly, always guilty of that. It took me years, I think years, to finally stop that habit. Hard, but that is probably the single. Would you say that's one of the most important things that a trader can learn to do is to not average losers?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to self-respect, right? Like if you don't respect yourself, you're gonna average losers. And I can almost guarantee that most traders have a trading plan that they do not follow. They
Right.
just ego, right? Because you can be good at everything in the whole entire world, sports, art, whatever. But when it comes to trading, it's one thing you have no control over. And a lot of people can't accept that. And they think, oh, I'm naturally talented. I'm good at everything.
Mhm.
Trading's no different. It's way different.
Speaking on a side note, you mentioned that you had an interest in music, interest in art. Um,
Mhm.
One of the people that I interviewed a long time ago was a market wizard named Linda Raschke. Maybe you've heard of her. She's actually in the first Market Wizards book. She's very,
Yeah.
very talented, great lady. But Linda was a piano player, and she used to always make the point that if music is all about patterns, and of course trading is all about pattern recognition, and she thought there was a tremendous amount of similarity between the two disciplines. I wonder if you feel that way. Do you think that if you now I, for example, have zero musical skill or talent, but I do have an eye for patterns. But do you think that there is something to that if you are sort of musically inclined, you have a easier, better ability to read patterns?
I can't read patterns on the chart. I'm a pure price trader, and I'll show.
Hmm.
I think I
So I
think it
guess
may
not.
be
Yeah.
well, because it doesn't resonate with me because
Hmm.
one of my mentors, Chris Laurie, um, he didn't trade patterns, and he kind of ingrained that pattern trading wasn't it for us, right? Especially
Hmm.
in currency. But for me, I from some of the private traders that I know, and you have to be mentally determined. And I think what's even bigger than having mental strength is change. If you're too stubborn to change what you're doing to do something that actually works, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, yeah, but we're all very stubborn.
I'm
It's
a Leo, so yeah, I
yeah,
know.
it's very very hard to change that. So the most fundamental thing you did as far as your trading plan was you stopped averaging losers. That created a much more uniform loss win structure, which started to produce positive results because you obviously had a high positive hit rate. What do you? I'm speaking of which, by the way, what is your risk reward? Are you trading with a 1-to-1 risk reward? Like what is generally, because everybody always says I trade with a 2-to-1 risk reward, but in reality, when push comes to shove, they're lucky to keep it to 1-to-1 because they're managing their, the profits. You're moving as the price moves in your direction, you're probably locking in your stops to make sure they go to break even, so on and so forth. So what is the actual risk reward that you usually trade with?
Gotcha. So I don't do risk reward ratio. I do average stop to average take profit. So I have two categories: short term trading, swing trading. My average
Okay.
short term trade stop loss is between 7 and 13 pips. My average swing trade stop loss is 25 to 50. And I know that if I have to go beyond those specific parameters, it's not my trade. Even if the setup is A1, I will not take it. My average win on a short term trade is 50 to 100. My average swing trade is anywhere between 250 to 500 pips.
Okay, so you try to really hit big home runs against those stops. Okay, so that means your win ratio must be less because those are really skewed. I mean, if you're risking 25 and trying to go for 250, you have to be suffering some retrace risk in those trades. No.
No, it's all about how I enter. Okay, I'll give you this. Price, I see price moving in cycles, right? And in those cycles, there's a trend, there's a retracement, there's a reversal, and there's a continuation, right? I'm trend trading most of the time because reversals are rare.
Hmm.
So I'm following the trend and I know how to spot a reversal, but it's time frame based, right? So, for example, if the monthly is super bullish on, say, gold, a lot of times the weekly is going to move from high to low or low to high to push the trend. So if the monthly is bullish, I look for a weekly reversal, meaning I look for the weekly to go from high to low. It's a zero sum game. And then I have my entry parameters. I'll get in. And as long as it fits my stop parameters and target, I'm in there.
So is that a way of saying that you try to look for retraces within trend? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a trend, you have a breakout, then you're looking for that natural retrace within range, and as long as and then obviously you have a way to figure out where you think the support is on that price level, or do you? I'm just curious. Maybe we'll take a look at the charts a little bit later, but I wonder, do you is your methodology um, to assume that there's a support level, or to actually see the support level tested and then retaken to the upside? Let's say we're trading an uptrend, drops the support level, then comes back up above the support level, and maybe that's your entry as a structure. Is that what you typically do? You look for that kind of a confirmation?
Now, I'm using like the London Fix and other key price points. So limit orders, right? Limit orders are market movers, right? And market orders are essentially the fuel for limit orders. So what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the London or the Tokyo Fix for an entry price because for me it's more dynamic. Now,
Okay.
anybody can write, like I could put a line on any point in the chart and make it look good, right?
Right.
But I need specifics and I studied the back end of the market. And so I find that once I see my entry queue, it needs to be around the London or the Tokyo Fix
Okay.
or another set of key
So,
price points, and I'll take my entry.
so can you, for many viewers that are listening who are not aware, I mean, they may have heard the term fix a lot, but they're really not aware of what that is and how that works and where would you find those numbers. Could you walk us through and just explain to us, like when is when is Tokyo get fixed? When does London get fixed? Where do you get those numbers? How do you figure out
Mhm.
those things?
The Tokyo Fix is right around 2200 GMT, slightly after it, so 5 p.m. New York.
Okay.
London's Fix is 10:30 a.m. London time.
Okay.
It's I Yeah, I can't translate it to Pacific time. It's right around like
No, 10:30 London time is 6:30 New York in the morning, right? 10:30 because London is 4 hours ahead of New York, right?
okay, so it's 7 for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm using that London Fix and I'm using it as a line on my chart.
Okay.
Um,
And where do you actually get that data? Like, where do you find the London fix? Is there a website that tells you what London fix is?
you can Google it, but it's a specific time. So it's the same time every single day, every
Okay.
single week, every so the price at that specific time is what I'm using.
Okay. And so using that price on all the currencies, right? Of course, the majors, euro, pound.
Mhm.
And by the way, I'm actually curious on the currency side. Do you trade the primary three, or do you trade a wide variety of currencies? What's your preference and style usually?
I trade Euro, Pound, USD CAD, CHF, JPY. I was trading AUD USD, but it's so slow. So I substituted that for AUD JPY because it moves a lot more. And I'm using the Tokyo fix for those. And gold.
And gold, right? What is gold fix? Is it the same? Um,
Yeah, there's two fixes for gold. There's an evening, there's an afternoon, and an evening fix for gold. And I can't think of the times right now because I'm on the spot. Wow.
It's okay. We'll Google them for them. But
Okay.
that's actually really interesting for me to know. I didn't realize. So you have the fixed time, and then I mean you have the fixed line because you know that that's the price at that time. What does that tell you? How does that inform you? What do you do
Mhm.
with that information?
So I look for liquidity around the fixes, and there's a school of thought that liquidity is stop losses. It's liquidity's limit orders, right? And I'm looking for that behavior in the market to show me that there's limit orders, and I'll show you what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Um, and then once the market reveals itself, I'm looking for the retracement, and I'm in. And then it's determining, okay, is this a short-term trade or is this a long-term trade? That's literally it.
Well, what is the like? What determines the short term trade versus long term trade?
On a short-term trade, I'm just looking for like something at like Asia, London low, Tokyo, Asia, London, New York highs and lows to follow the trend, and I'm only trading the range. So if I'm trading a bounce off of the Asia low, I'm looking for it to go back to Asia's high,
Mm,
and I do the same thing, vice versa too.
mm.
Same thing with currencies too. I'll trade it from high to low in the range. That's it. But swing trades, I'm trading quarterly and yearly trends.
I see. I see. And so the fix doesn't really come into play there. You just um,
Just for entry, yeah, just for entry. But there's a whole nother set of key prices that I use for swing trades. I don't really use a fix for swing trades.
did you do any trades last night or yesterday? Um,
Yeah, I took a couple longs. I took a long euro. It's a short term trade
hmm,
because euro's been showing signs of turning around because dollar broke out of a quarterly range. But I'm just waiting to see if dollar is going to keep climbing or if it's going to turn back around. I took a short term long euro, short term long pound, heavy long USD CAD because it's been trading up, but that's about to hit my TP. But yeah, that's it. Nothing crazy.
do you mind? Could you share your screen with us if you have it up? Because
Yeah.
I'd love to see how you break down those trades in the overnight, so we can follow your process a little bit more.
So with USD CAD, these are my key price points. Purple is a quarterly level, blue is a monthly, and if I drop down to the 4 hour, red is a weekly, white is a daily. So I'm literally long USD CAD off of, I'll show you, right in here. Now, the reason I'm long USD CAD right off of there, I'll break this down. So the blue line is my monthly key price point. The red lines are my weekly. The red lines are above the blue line, which is the monthly.
Right.
That's bullish. That means I'm targeting highs. So all I'm looking for what's the lack of a better word, for the monthly to push to the high, and this
Right.
is my target right here, right there, between here and then there's a daily key price right here, this little white line. So this is the target, and my actual exit will be right. Oh no, don't do that. Right here.
Okay. And where's? Can you mark the entry? Where's the entry?
Right here, red box.
Right in the red box. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're coming in from that level, it's a massive, massive move. Let's say it staircases up. Do you take partial profits?
Yeah. So my first target was here at this low here so my thing is I need to know where I'm wrong first. I'm wrong here. But then you see the little white line pushes above this low
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
I'm holding it because there's no indication that this is going to go down yet.
Right.
And so it's going, and you see the white lines are moving up. It's bullish. So second target was here, and then the rest gets held into here, this blue line here. Then I'll be out. And if it keep going, so if it keeps going, whatever, I got my
What
move.
what makes the white lines on the chart?
That's a secret.
Okay.
That's one thing I won't reveal on here. But
Okay.
I'll show you the fixes, but I can't say what these are.
Okay. Fair enough. Um, so let's take a look. Like, like today in the morning when you were looking at the fixes? What do you look at like a 15-minute chart? Like, what is your lowest time frame?
30
Um,
minutes.
30 minutes. So what
Hmm.
would you look at a 30-minute chart? What would you see
All
there?
right, let me. So with this, so the red line is the fix for the week. Wait, is that right? Am I on the right? Yeah, I'm on the right thing. So the red line is the fix for the week. Blue is Tokyo. Blue is Tokyo. Purple is London. So all time highs right here. Right now,
Okay.
my rule of thumb is I'm not going to trend trade near highs or lows. Right.
Okay.
Reason being because highs and lows tend to be reversal points. So I took gold short just back into here. Why?
Yes.
Well, you see how price moved away from London's fix,
Right.
came back to London's fix, and it shorted out. Now, why here? I'll tell you. The more times a level was hit, the weaker it becomes, right? And I know the school of thought of support and resistance says the more hits on a level, the stronger it is. I believe it's the opposite because literally limit orders are liquidity. Do you need me to break that little statement down? Because I will.
No, I mean it makes sense. The more you hit those, the more volume goes at those limit orders, the more they buckle up. It's like a brick wall that gets hit by a wrecking ball. Eventually, it's going to buckle down. Is what
Hmm.
you, right?
Exactly. And then price is typically just going to go to the next key price point to see if there's limit orders there. And why is this a short term trade? Because gold has been just raging upwards. So anything against the major bullish move is a retracement to me. And
Right.
then at that point, I'm using my monthly key price points, which are these blue lines, and they're moving up. So gold's moving up. Anything against the upward movement is just a retracement. So
So I'm
I'm,
actually curious. Like
yeah,
that first monthly blue line, where is that? Is that 3,400 somewhere? The first one on the trend, not the one on the bottom, but the one on the top. The
here.
first, yeah. What is that?
Yep, 34, 34, 43.
Okay, and then the next one after that is 32, somewhere around 32s,
Mm-hmm.
and then the last one is going to be at around 30. So there's nothing at 3,000. It's actually in front of 3,000 or underneath 3,000. It's interesting.
I can show you something else, but I can't tell you what it is if you want to see it.
All right, always looking.
So,
Yeah.
so this here, boom. The other way I do this is I can project out price points. Now, I have these levels before the market gets to it. So I can manage my trade based off of prices that I know transactions are going to occur at. So every week, the red lines shift. Every month, the blue lines shift. And every quarter, the purple lines shift
Right.
because it's a calculation. So I can manage my trades based off of this too with this same idea in mind. So now, like the same level, if I would have been eyeing this level, there was a fix here, right? I
Right.
also have this weekly transaction level. I know I'm going to exit here because I have two layers of confluence at this price point. So
Right.
I know my trade is done. And well, for me at least, because it can still go lower, but I'm not going to hold it any longer than what my trading plan tells me to do.
Right.
What were we looking at before? We were looking at the fix. Where is it at here? So I have multiple confluences that I use to
Right.
make price movement make sense in the moment.
Right. And so basically, most of your work really revolves around making sure you have as accurate a picture of the key price levels as possible so that you can enter with the minimum amount of risk and the highest level of precision on
Correct.
your entries.
That's the only way I'm able to have my stops like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, because it's either going to work. Now, do you ever get in a situation where like it stops you out, then rallies back up, stop? Like you go into in what I call the washing cycle, where it just stops you out, comes back up, stops you out, comes back up. It just churns you out a couple of times.
Very rare, very rare. So I limit my amount of trades per day. Day trading or swing trading. I'm only allowing myself 3 setups a day. That's it.
On each three day trades, three swing trades. Is that what it is, or just three period?
Sometimes day trades turn into swing trades,
Right.
but I'm looking for three. That's it. So with swing trades, sometimes I only get 3 entries in a week, right? And some weeks I get none. Like
Right.
that's the nature of the beast. You just gotta literally turn your computer off and go do something else, right? So you don't make a stupid decision. At least that's what I do. I
Yeah.
protect myself from myself. But very rarely, if I get whipped out, I don't care anymore. I just go. I got kids. I'll go play with I have a 3 year old. I'll just go punch him around. He'll punch me back, right? I'll just go do something else, right?
Right. Now, speaking of which, you're on the West Coast, so
Mhm.
you're sort of really far removed from London Open. It's incredibly early. I mean, I actually love trading the West Coast, but you have to be a glutton for punishment and get up super early. What's your day like? Just kind of like your day to day routine. When do you wake up? What do you do? When do you scan the charts? How do you place trades? Sort of all of that.
So I live my life literally in 4 hour blocks, and that's because I like to monitor the 4 hour close.
Okay.
So my day starts at 3 a.m. Get up at 3, check the markets, and by 4 o'clock I'm at the gym. Back home, typically, well, I go to my coffee shop after the gym. Then, well, not my coffee shop, my favorite coffee shop, and then I come back home. I look for trades, take kids to school, come back, look for trades, eat breakfast, and then right around like 11 my time, which is 2 your time, I don't do anything. I'm just like, okay, if I can't find a trade by then, I don't care.
Mm.
I just go play with my toddler, pick my kids up from school around 2 to 3. I'll monitor Asia Open. If I don't see anything, regardless, I know I have martial arts, so I'm going to go to martial arts training. Come back around 6, scan. If I see something, put a limit order in. If not, okay, I'll be back at 10, and I'm in bed by 11.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, it's a very disciplined life. It sounds very much like my life too. Everybody except I take a like a midday nap because I'm like I go to bed 10 and I'm up at 2. But I know a lot of FX traders, and a lot of just trade anybody who trades the markets around the clock really lives life just like you do in 4 hour increments. I don't think about like morning, afternoon, night. I just kind of, oh, now I have this. I walk the dogs, then I do this. Then the Asian market opens. You kind of like you divide your day between Europe market, uh, North America, Asia. That's
Yep.
you don't have a morning day or a night type of stuff.
No, I don't even know what day it is half the time.
Right, right.
That's
That's true.
okay.
Now, do I mean, would you say? I mean, we clearly people who like the market, I think, are probably unnaturally obsessed with it. But does a person have to be that involved to succeed, or do you think that people can have a more of a casual relationship to the markets and still do okay?
I'll speak from traders that I know and myself. I'm competitive. Like I'm super competitive. When me and my wife go to the grocery store, I'm trying to beat her out of her seatbelt. I'm trying to beat her out of the car, the door closed, and into the store. I am unnaturally competitive. I can accept losing, but I don't like it, right? And so I think you have to be obsessed. And with trading, you can't compete with anyone, right? And you often hear the term, "Oh, beat the market." I'm not trying to beat the market. I'm trying to be in flow with it, right? Like market's always right.
100%. Like it's actually not about beating the market; it's about actually connecting to the market, which is a much harder thing to do. It's being in sync with the market. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And as long as you have that mindset of finding your weaknesses as a trader and you try to eliminate them the best you can, but accept that it will never be perfect. I think you do have to be obsessed because,
Mhm.
I remember I was talking to a trader from overseas, down under specifically, and like me, he locked himself away for months on end. There was a period of time, Boris, where I didn't go to any family functions.
Yeah.
I missed time with my kids. Like they were like, "Hey, we got it. We're going out to do this." I'm like, "Fuck, I can't do it." As much as I would love to go, I'm not,
Right.
because if I don't sacrifice this now, today is not a reality.
Right.
Like I'm able to do what I want now because of the sacrifices and the stuff I missed out on years ago. If you ask me, it's the only way.
How long do you think it takes or took you to feel moderately comfortable that you knew what you were doing? Like when you said, you know what, even if I have a bad day, I still know what I'm doing. Like that feeling, which is really hard to get a lot of times.
I would say like last year, I'm in a quest for perfection and I know I'll never get there.
So literally, let's think about this. You started 217. Last year is 224. That is like a 6 to 7 year journey before you feel moderately comfortable to like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know that I can survive tomorrow and the next day and do this thing correctly. That's uh,
I fear complacency. That's the problem.
the typical thing you see on YouTube. And I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about all of the YouTube gurus that that pitch the 5 minute idea and super simple ideas, but like sort of even like the longest time I've heard people on YouTube say, "Oh, it takes me 6 months or a year to become profitable." I think it's just complete nonsense in real life. It really does take almost a better part of a decade to understand. I think also because you have to see different types of markets. You just can't, you know, markets themselves, it takes about a decade to see every type of cycle market there is to really understand what price action is going to do. But yeah, I mean, I wonder what you think about that.
That's why I got on social media. I
Mm.
hate it. I have a Superman complex. If you see my living room, I have Superman banners. I just bought another house and I'm planning out the office, and I'm gonna have Superman crap everywhere. I want to save the world, but I know I can't. But one thing I hate with a passion is scammers. I joke with the people I mentor is like I wish I can get locked in a room with forex scammers and scammers in general. And I like boxing and martial arts. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I would have so much fun. I would have so much fun. But I'll tell you this. I have a student, and it hurts my heart. He told me he worked 3 jobs to pay for my course, and it's not that expensive. And I have a if I take anything from him, I have a responsibility to him to give him the best that I can.
Right,
There's no way in the world I would take money from someone
right,
and not give them the best that I could possibly give them.
right.
But there's people out there that are just, oh, here's your, like literally, he's telling me that I paid this guy 10 grand and he gave me a YouTube link to some technical analysis videos.
Yeah.
I hate them. I hate them.
What do you think? Like is the most common thing that scammers do? Like, what are some of the most scammy things?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Anybody who sits in a Lamborghini or a rented plane is lying for a living.
I joke with my peeps. I'm like, yo, if they're in Miami, run. Even though I do know a trader in Miami, like if they're in Miami, just run.
That's it. I think that's a good. That's a really good. That's a pretty good heuristic. Yeah. What are some of your mentorship details? Like, can you share a little bit about what do you do in your mentorship? What's your process? How does it differ from other people? Do you do a lot of sort of one-on-one coaching? Do you do
Yeah.
group
So
coaching?
there's one-off courses, right? I have a course on London Fix, course on liquidity, price cycles, all that. But and that's mainly for the person who doesn't want a mentor, that wants to decipher stuff on their own. But when I'm working with someone one-on-one, I'm listening. I'm doing more listening than I am talking, because the only way I can get a clue into their mind is by the questions that they ask,
Hmm.
right? And so, they most people want a one size fits all. Oh, what's my route through the videos? I don't know your route. I'm going to know your route based off of the questions that you ask me. Because it may be time for them to learn the fix. It may be time for them to learn entry. Maybe they don't want the fix, and maybe their trading plan is more of a reversals trader. So cool, we're going to go to the reversal section.
Mm.
So I'm really mentoring traders based off the questions that they ask, but everybody starts with the foundation of what liquidity actually is. And the smart money concept guys, they liquidity stop losses. It's like, come on, guys, you never heard of a liquidity void? Like both ends of the market are true. There's liquidity and no liquidity moves the market. People don't
You know,
get it.
I honestly think that the whole idea of liquidity is completely overcomplicated. It's frankly nothing more than just popular interest in common English language. It's
Mhm.
like gold is a perfect example. Everybody is trading gold now. There's massive movement, volatility, and liquidity in gold. That's what That's what creates liquidity. Um,
Correct.
yeah, and that's it. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Like when markets are just flat and there is a 5 point price range in euro for 24 hours.
Yeah,
You
there's no
know,
liquidity.
there's no liquidity. It doesn't take a genius to figure out. Nobody's trading. Nobody has any orders to do. Nobody has any business to transact. Nobody has any interest. You probably should just stay away, right?
Yeah. And people get chopped up in the ranges because there's a lack of liquidity, and then they cry, "Oh, the broker ran my stop." No, you're just doing dumb stuff. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. So I know we're short on time, so I want to sort of leave you with like a couple of key questions. What would you say are the three most common mistakes you see in all of your mentoring students? What are the top three things? I mean, I think the number one thing that you and I kind of really agreed on is that people have to stop averaging losers. Like if there was one behavior we could all stomp out of everybody, it would be just like don't average down. But what other behaviors do you think are pretty toxic that a lot of traders do?
so a couple of my guys are probably going to think I'm talking about them, but it's as a whole.
Right.
Speed. They think they can do it in 30 or 45 days. No, you have to submit to time. The other thing is they blame their trading psychology, and which I think is nothing more than how you feel about money. And like again, you're in New York, so traders. The reality of traders who work in an institution is a lot of these guys are alcoholics and a lot of these guys are on drugs, and they show up and they can perform regardless of their vices. So it's get
Uh,
rich quick, right? Like no, it's a how you.
some of the best guys on the desk when I used to trade were like just grossly overweight. This is in the days when they still used to smoke on the desks, and they could smoke, and they were grossly overweight, and but they had the best instincts in the world.
Yeah,
Living a pure, clean life, much as we like to think about it, is not that's not uh, the way you learn how to trade. It's about reading price action, which is much more intuitive.
exactly. And if you can't hang your issues on the door when you sit down at
Yeah.
your desk to trade, it doesn't matter. Like I had a crazy life, but that doesn't matter when I'm sitting at the charts.
Speaking of that, what is your sort of? Do you have a favorite trading book or anything that had a big impact on you?
Chris Laurie.
Chris Laurie.
Chris
Okay.
Laurie. If you can interview one trader, get him.
What made him so special? What particularly hit to you
So
that he taught you?
there's two. There's Chris Laurie and Daniel Chung. Daniel Chung, I'm gonna get emotional. My wife was battling really bad anxiety when I was trying to do this, like really bad. She would sit on the couch and say, "I don't know if I can live anymore."
Hmm.
And I was in Daniel's trading group, and Daniel didn't charge me.
Hmm.
He helped me. I will beat somebody up for talking about Daniel Chung. Like I will fly to the UK and I will punch someone in the face. Like I love Dan that much. Chris Laurie, because without him, I don't dial in my trading plan and I don't learn how to think independently. Chris Laurie is very into telling you to I'm not interview, to think independently, right?
Hmm.
And everything that you saw on the charts that I showed you, if Chris doesn't tell me to think independently, I don't figure out. I message Chris Laurie all the time, like, dude, if you ever come to California, you need to call me because I need to buy you lunch. It's
Yeah.
a small, like, I wouldn't have had a third kid if it wasn't for Chris because I couldn't afford it. I love him.
So it sounds like these men really influenced you much more on their framework of thought rather than any specific trade setup or anything else. It was more about thinking about trading rather than whatever specific trade setup that we all come up with. And that's what centered you and really put you on track. As that poster says behind you, consistency. You know,
Yes, sir.
trading,
Yes,
trading.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll run out of time. I know you have to run. Is there any final words that you want to share with us? Of course, people can find you on andrecharts.com. And also, I
Yep.
believe you have a YouTube channel, right? Um,
Yeah, I don't even know my YouTube channel name. I haven't uploaded in a while, but you can find me on Instagram at Andre's Charts.
okay.
The website should be back up by the time this goes live, I hope. Um, my final thought is I'm going to leave you with something that, well, two things. Chris Loria always said anyone can be a trader. They just have to find the trader that lives within. He is 1,000% correct.
Okay.
1,000. The other thing is, from my experience, I have an ego, right? I'm a Leo. I was naturally good at sports. I was naturally good at everything. And when it came to trading, I couldn't do it
Mm,
until I learned if you have an ego and it's hard for you to stick to a plan, you need to learn the things that the market likes and trade and flow with that and make that your trading plan. That's
interesting.
how I did it.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's a great takeaway. Well, Andre, I want to thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom with us. Really interesting, fascinating interview.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody else, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the Trading Battle. That's always going to bring you the best interviews with the best traders across the world. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is Boris Schlossberg for the Trading Battle. Over and out. I'll see you guys in the markets.